Hey, what's going on YouTube? Down Personally One here, and I'm here today with another deck profile for you guys. This one I want to actually show you guys a nice little classic deck profile in case maybe some of you guys haven't played Vanguard around when set 1 and 2 came out. What I have here is what's called Invincible Overlord. So what it revolves on is having Mr. Invincible in your Vanguard zone, which every turn he soul charges and flips one of your counterblasts face up, which you can abuse your Overlord. Because of course with Overlord, one of my favorite cards in the game all time, his skill is Counterblast 3, and he gains the ability, whether he's in Rearguard or Vanguard, it's very important that whenever he hits a Rearguard, your opponent's Rearguard, he stands. He does lose Twin Drive, but you can still use this skill in the Rearguard zone, which is why these two, they worked really nicely together around the beginning of Vanguard when it first started. Because of course there wasn't really many two decks to play, so I mean this concoction was made. I think, and I can tell you right now, I think this deck is still a blast to play. In terms of the current meta right now with Limit Breakers, Gold Paladins, and all these crazy skills and different varieties of decks out there, it's going to be a little bit hard for this deck to keep up because of course you cannot run Perfect Guards in this deck because it's a mixed deck. And at the same time, you don't really build up much defense, but you can do a lot of constant pressure just with your Invincible and Overlord if you can get that down early. And I think it's a lot of fun to play. It's a blast to play. The fact is you don't run Perfect Guards in here. I'd say this is a very budgety deck to play. I mean, Overlords, I think you can easily get for maybe like $6, $5 from other people. Invincibles are like $1. I think that's really the only expensive card. I have like another one here too. It's only one card from set 4, but it's only like $4. So you can make this deck for easily around maybe $40 or less. So I'd say if you just have a spare 40 bucks lying around, give this deck a try. It's a lot of fun to play. Now, onto the profile to show you guys. So of course it's Invincible Overlord. So of course you're going to be running your four Mr. Invincible and 4 Overlords, the dynamic duo. I kind of like thought of it like, you know, Mr. Invincible is a superhero and Overlord's like his pet sidekick. So it's like, you know, Invincible's like, you know, sick 'em Overlord, and Overlord's like rawr, you know, eat your backfield. So it's nice. It's just constant pressure to backfield and to your opponent's rear guards. And like, if your opponent doesn't even know how to handle Overlord, I mean, they're going to drop a lot of shield on him every turn. So that's pretty fun. And plus Overlord is a little bit of a damage sponge because they always like to go after him, but then that's why I run 4, so I drop another one and go, haha, can't stop me now. But yep, so 4 of those. Then you run 4 copies of Nehalem. I recently got flash decks and I like this alternate art. I think it looks awesome. So yeah, 4 copies of Nehalem. And 1 Gaarp just to make it 5 vanillas. Then you run another classic Nova Grappler, 4 Hungry Dumpty. When he's called to the rearguard circle and you have a Nova Grappler Vanguard, you unflip a damage. So typically after you use Overlord's Counterblast, Counterblast 3, you unflip 1 with Invincible. You usually take 1 damage, and then Hungry Dumpty allows you to do it the next. Hungry Dumpty gives you that final 3rd Counterblast to do it again. So Dumpty's really good, of course, in this deck to keep the pressure going. And 9k is not bad. And then I actually run double Tejas. Tejas was used a lot in Kagero decks, is because when Barkle was legal, he was really annoying. So Tejas was the one to snipe. I still like Tejas because Tejas is like almost never dead because there's usually something that he can hit on the field. So like Overlord can easily pressure your opponent's front row. Tejas can just like snipe at back rows. You don't even have to boost him. So really, really nice card. I like the alternate art too. It's pretty good. And grade 1's very simple. You run 4 Bahr, 4 Gojo. Of course you want to open with this. Gojo is of course important to fix your hands and make sure you get your Invincible and Overlord combo because you don't want to ride Overlord. 4 Aermo. What's nice with Aermo is that you can even use it behind Invincible and still get the skill because it doesn't have to be Kagero, it boosts. So it could be anything, that's what's nice. And this is just 2 cards from set 4. Only about $4, about $5 each. Heatnail Salamander. Basically, whenever he boosts a Kagero unit and it hits a Vanguard, you can kill a rearguard a grade 1 rearguard of your opponents and put him back in the deck. So it's a nice little tech choice you put to give more added pressure to your opponent. So it's not too bad. Because that way you don't have to use counter, because you can like run Conroe or like Berserk Dragon in this deck because you have to control a Kagero Vanguard, and obviously Mr. Invincible is not a Kagero, he is a Nova Grappler. So nice basic cards like this are good. Now you could run like cards like Claydol Mechanic to continue flipping cards face up, but the thing with Claydol Mechanic, he doesn't intercept, and there's no way you can get him off the field to make room for other cards like Hungry Dumpty does, because he can intercept, and plus I am using Lizard Soldier Conroe as my starter, so you don't want to have to risk riding a Claydol over Conroe not being able to use a skill, because that will hurt. Conroe is very important in this deck. So yeah, very, very standard, but very efficient. And then the trigger lineup, of course you're going to be running 6 crits, 6 stand triggers, and 4 heals. Stand triggers, I can tell you, is really what makes this deck really, really powerful. Because obviously, you know, I attack with Overlord. You know, Overlord with the skill. Swing, you block it, fine. Stand triggers, stand him. He's 21 now. I'm going to go after that rear guard you chose to guard. Up. Either give me 15,000 more, or you let it die. So you just wasted shield. So that's pretty much what makes it powerful. What's nice too, my favorite thing with stand triggers is if you use it on Tejas, be pretty trolly, honestly, because you could use Tejas with the booster to attack the Vanguard, and if you don't have Overlord, let's say you don't have Overlord, you can just use Tejas, stand the Tejas, you can either hit for 13, you can hit like anything. A lot of times I just go after a back row, because if my opponent wants to keep that back row unit, he has to give me 10, which they usually don't, so it's nice to kind of like, just kind of like mess with your opponent's field. So there you have it, guys. That is my classic deck profile for you guys, Invincible Overlord. I can honestly tell you that it's really one of my favorite decks all time. I actually played this deck for a while when I was first getting into Vanguard. It's a really fun deck to play. Like I said, it's not going to cost you more than $40 just to make this deck. It's really, really fun. In terms of competitive play, I might actually, if you guys maybe want to give me enough likes, I can actually show you guys a match of this. I can post a match of this deck in. And depending on how much you guys like that match I have featuring this deck, then I can maybe actually take it to my locals and see how it does in this current meta. But other than that, guys, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to comment, like, rate, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys later.